Thunder Awaken and what they're going to be bringing to the table. But it still means they're going to have to deal with it. Maybe just some better tools, but it's still easier said than done. We'll see. Game number 2 officially has begun.
Ding ding, let's get going. I like that what you bring up, the whole idea of, you know, how much more survivable, how much more bulky they are. That was something that Thunder done really well in the last game. From the Tiny Pick to the Templar Assassin, there's a lot of effective HP in these fights. You're able to sustain for a long time. And Aster definitely answered that their own way. You know, Ursa will be able to sustain in longevity with lifesteal eventually. You've got to consider Visage and how hard it is to initially get through the Gravekeeper Cloak. Even the Tiny, one of the most bulky boys, and Omni Knight plus Snapfire. I just love how there isn't a weak point, which is really impressive to come out looking with like you've got a respectable draft without compromise, when it felt like you're at a stage where you maybe need that flimsy hero, something that offers some big utility but can easily die, something like an SD, because you are up against the Nyx, you are up against an Ember Spirit. These are heroes that will find that backline.
Now, something to certainly reiterate here, more so point out even, I'm waiting to see if there's actually action that takes the mid lane there. Kind of
there's a Pudge, right? It could happen.
Yeah, it definitely can happen, so you got to be careful there. But no, Pudge is down here at the bottom, so probably not going to be the play. Omni Knight versus Brewmaster, right? This Primal split, the Storm Brewing specifically, the Dispel. As speaking of Brewmaster, he's involved in this fight here, the clash for the Bounty Rune. Monet will pick it up though, and apparently that's going to be the end of that. But the point being, Heavenly Grace and the Guardian Angel are both dispellable, and Brewmaster, you know, he's good at doing that. So I still feel like, obviously, Aster was so confident enough to go into the matchup because it's that initial use of the Heavenly Grace and that initial cast of the Guardian Angel that can help turn the tide in a fight. If it gets purged off eventually, you know, that sucks, but it's not enough of a deterrence to not pick the hero.
I love that point, actually, mate. You know, Heavenly Grace, if you know, is busting the path. There's more Heavenly Disgrace these days because of the fact it's so easily removable. I think it's a big part of why we haven't seen Omni Knight, but I like the way utilizing him here. Look at his starting items. He's got the Uve, so should be an easy pickings on the Sacred. No way that you can easily get away from this. So it will be a first blood. And Monet, keep in mind that was out Fury Swipes, by the way. Next time there will be Fury Swipes. It'll be even easier to kill.
Yeah, this Hammer of Purity, obviously a fairly newer ability on the hero of Omni Knight. Absolutely, it is a great ability, and right there you see, especially with a core like an Ursa who can sit on top, and that's without the Fury Swipes yet that are even in play. So the fact they're able to just run down the Brewmaster is already a great news for Aster. You also notice the Uve, the Orb of Venom in hand for Omni Knight as well, and that's what helps allow them to make that kill happen. So yeah, that's going to be quite the bully lane up at the top.
Yeah, the Uve is smooth for this lane. Either one of them could have picked it up. I love the fact that Samias finds his way for it. You know, just to the idea that Hammer Purity, what makes it so good, usually when you're playing supports, you're looking for favorable trade-out spells. What's my investment of mana? What's my damage done? It's a lot of damage, which is what Panamu's about to discover. Monet, protected by the Heavenly Grace, so no silence coming through in the end, and they can just walk this off. Sacred, in fact, might have to walk away. He already used the clap. Monet does have the stick, so he's baiting him here. He'll stay alive, and he gets the kill as well.
And that's I mean, that's the other thing, right? It's like, yes, again, there's that purge eventually, but eventually, that's the key word. There's not even the threat of that until at least level 6 on Brewmaster, and that's even more value that you're getting in the Heavenly Grace in this laning phase. This is going to continue to be very difficult. In fact, you already see Brewmaster, he's going to use the Smoke of the Sea to just run back to the top lane faster because he doesn't have the TP yet.
It makes me wonder why they didn't want to stick the Silencer bot. Like, maybe the Nyx is better because the Nyx can stop these claps coming out. Like, if he Earth Shocks forward, he's going to get stunned, and you can back away. You've also got a stun. The problem they've got in this lane is they're playing slows versus slows. But their slows aren't better because Monet has a built-in mobility to his slow, and they have that Hammer of Purity. And just to quickly round about onto that thought, what makes it so good, this idea of mana trade for damage done, at this stage, Hammer of Purity for 40 mana is doing double that in terms of damage. You're doing probably about 80 to 90 damage after you add in the base damage and then the bonus from your base damage.
God, yeah, Heavenly Grace is so good. I know that's, again, one of those abilities that's been reworked a bit over time. But yeah, certainly feels very strong right now, as we saw there. Anyways, all right, there's other lanes, KP. Let's take a look.
But I want to talk about the Omni now.
I know. The bottom lane, Pudge, he's
Mago.
13-1 down here.
Man, Mago is living life on the edge. Sorry, yeah, but it's your point, you want to talk about Pudge, right? Like, this lane, I think the reason they put Nyx here instead of the Silencer is they want to get kills. We've seen how good some of these S8 boys are on their Pudge, right? So if Bakaz is no pushover, we could easily see a lane in which the support Baboka dies multiple times. Like that.
Speaking of. But that's why they went the Snapfire in response. One of the reasons.
Yep. Just get out of dodge. And I think one of the annoying parts about this type of lane, though, is because you naturally want to brawl, like your way to win is killing heroes, it naturally enables the Visage because you'll always get soul assumption charges.
Next Assassin, not afraid to play pretty aggressive here.
He's got the Spike Carapace.
Yeah, he's got the Carapace, so like I said, not afraid. And he'll be fine in the end. So mid lane, though, Tiny is slightly winning that one. 23-7 right now against a 19-3 Ember Spirit.
XSS, a little bit of trouble, but Boca will bodyguard, so Picas can't get the hook back. You just see how it ends up being a kind of even trade, even though you're this very bulky strength hero. The good news, at least, for Pudge fans, is he has already got the Ring of Health, so long term, he will be out the Visage.
Matthew going to stop that pull from being successful, at least for Baboka. Oh, mid lane. Okay, we're just tossing him up and...
Yeah, up you go, down you come.
CS.
Yeah, so one cool thing, Tiny should be the type of hero that can actually break the Flame Guard, especially when you prioritize Sleight of Fist first. So that's at least one nice thing for Ori, is he should have a way of preventing this Ember from running up with Flame Guard, harassing, and then also farming. It is pricey though, like you have to use 230 mana rather to get rid of it.
Well, Omni Knight kind of dueling with the two heroes up on the other side, up at the top lane, but well, Ursa's just farming away in the lane bottom. There's the hook set up. The impale hit. The hook comes out. XXS. He's gonna get a cookie though, and he'll be fine. So that's, yeah, this Snapfire is very clutch for Aster.
But so is the Soniqs, and I'm starting to understand even more why they stuck the Nyx down here. If Sans is down here, they keep soul assumptioning Sans and he dies. Nyx is here. If you soul assumption, he spike carapaces and you can't do anything. It's a genius move by the SA team. Thunder, pumping for that hook, but you see what it forces. Like, you have to keep using assumption on Picas, but he has a Ring of Health and the raindrops. You're not going to kill him. It's a genius move by the SA team. Thunder, pumping for that hook, but you see what it forces. Like, you have to keep using assumption on Picas, but he has a Ring of Health and the raindrops. You're not going to kill him.
Yeah, just kind of soften him up a little bit, but the regen kicks in and really not going to actually kill him in the end, as you're pointing out. So it does feel
it's like hitting a timber
for the Visage there.
Right? It's like that feeling when you hit a timber. You're like, why did I do this? He's just healing now. This is pointless.
There is a haste rune bottled up on Ori, by the way. He's level 6 currently. He's still in the mid lane, but look for that to potentially be used.
He has got the mana. Good save from XSS there. The Grave Chill is going to allow a turnaround. Ori now TPing to the bot lane with the haste rune. Spike Carapace is going to slow down the pursuit, but not stop him. It will toss them back on top of each other. Nice stun through from Matthew. Should get them safely away, but Ori, he wants to commit. He will finish off the kill with the tree and get out in time.
Yeah, Ember Spirit. Is he going to be able? I mean, he's got remnants.
He's got no chains. He's... Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This doesn't feel good. Please tell me he's got a remnant in the mid lane. No. So,
oh, wow, he doesn't.
No, yeah, usually, like, this type of rotation is the last thing you want to do when you don't have a chains skill in your build. So, really unfortunate for Mago, because now he's just kind of stuck here. He'll at least get the ball refill courtesy of Picas, but now you have to make the walk of shame.
Yeah, heading all the way back to the mid lane. So, clearly the rotation better, as I mentioned. I mean, the Ori having the haste rune bottled up, coming into play, able to take out Pudge. Mentioned he's very tanky, but Pudge at least able to help finish the job, and it's a 4-0 lead for Aster. So by this time, I want to say there's like 10 hero kills for Thunder Awaken last game.
Yeah.
This time they're at 0 on the board, and that just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it feels especially bad for them because this kind of tells you how the script's playing out in Aster's favor, because this is the order I talked about that Aster play with. They get to do what they want. They're the ones hunting. They're the only ones finding kills. And you know what Thunder would like to be doing. Not dying would be step one, but also finding kills themselves instead of just feeding more over.
Mid-Tiny continues to be the factor, this time in the hands of Aster, and Ori is making it work. He is now 2-0 himself, bottom lane.
Get out, get out, get out. Oh, man, that damage is felt.
They're trying.
Cookie's good as well. They just can't get him. I mean, that was their aggression as well. They dove the tower for that. Aster is so on point this game. It's like a completely different team between game 1 and 2.
Can they at least kill Snapfire? No. Nope. Again, like I talked, go back to, no, the mid-tiny is certainly a factor, but this is just a much more difficult team to kill, even in this early laning phase. They have the tools, they are just beefier in general, and speaking of that top lane, they can also play aggressive. It's not going to be a kill on Brewmaster, but they're kind of botting him out of the lane. There are TPs coming in, though, including Pudge, and you see Omni Knight realizing that. And
wait, what's Aster doing?
He's, okay, well, he's
They don't have 6.
Going ham.
They don't have 6 on Pudge. Monet, he doesn't commit to the fight, though. Reinforcements have arrived for the side of Thunder, so they will clean up the bear in the end. Now, to make it worthwhile, they're going to have to find a way to push this tower.
Yeah, that was a little odd. I don't know if you just didn't realize that all 3 of those heroes were there or what, but I mean, no dismember, but still, that was very greedy, especially with Omni Knight and his positioning. They just were not on the same page. So, hey, a freebie there for Thunder Awaken, but one that they will gladly take and absolutely needed, considering the state of this game right now.
Yeah, it's one of those crazy ones where maybe if he just keeps clicking, he gets one of the heroes, and then they possibly don't even have the control to deal with the bear anymore. But a little bit of panic sets in when you're rotated on by that many heroes. Rotation's coming the other way now. Bot side, nice pick onto Pandamu. Should enable a push into the tower, especially considering this lane does belong to the Visage. Back
to the top, though. Monet, this time he has Omni Knight nearby. The hook on in. He has the Heavenly Grace up, but it's still plenty of lockdown, and 4 heroes are here. Now, the Heavenly Grace is helping. Bakaz has to be careful not to die himself, and he does just that. Buys time for Doc Mago to get the kill on Ember Spirit.
Oh, man. And, you know, that tip is appropriate there because Matthew realizes what this all means. You know, he's a great counter to the Earth shock, so Earth is always going to stun himself due to the Spike Carapace. And why that feels good is you can keep making these ganks happen, and you notice what the build is. Look at what Ursa was building into. With that great start, Mona wanted nothing but a Battle Fury. Every time he gets caught out like this, it slows down Aster's timing and unlocks Thunder's. Thunder's draft is designed to go fast. And now, with this choice by Aster, theirs is going to be slowed down.
Yeah, and those are 2 very preventable deaths. I mean, both of them were the case of Monet's the one going in very aggressive. Obviously, that's kind of Ursa really summed up, to be fair. But, yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because when you're building that Battle Fury, the last thing you want to be doing is dying and going pretty ham for those kills, knowing that it is a bit greedy. So, a couple of deaths, but now this is more appropriate. He's off over in his ancient side. Just kind of jungling a little bit, realizing that, yeah, it's getting a little bit out of hand. Let me go ahead and calm things down and hit some creeps over here instead.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if you're playing that confidently 3 minutes from now, even when you've only just completed the Battle Fury, at least makes sense because Ori has a blink, but he's not there yet. You know, he's still 1,000 gold away. I think Aster just had a phenomenal start to this game, and I think Monet felt himself a little bit too much. And you can kind of understand why you'd feel that way, the frustration of the previous game. You know, you felt like, haha, we addressed their draft and we play their game now, and we win. But it's not that simple, my friend.
No.
If he really wants to. Yeah, he's thinking about it. The problem is, like, you need the Vendetta damage, and oh, Monet isn't looking!
Nope. You're not getting away.
He's got the mana burn. It's going to be tight, but while that's happening, bot lane, Global Stance is going to be forced out. Rotation under Bakaz here will be a success. Ursa also living.
Yeah, that's big. That money is, I mean, Matthew, such a good attempt to get that solo kill. I mean, it would have been absolutely massive, but yeah, unable to get it, and great job by Aster, capitalizing on the fact that Nyx Assassin not nearby. They take out Pudge, and Ori bottles up a double damager, and you know that there's potential danger ahead continuing for Thunder Awaken from this tiny now. You got to be careful about that. He has 1750 gold saved up too, by the way, so Blink is coming, but here we go with Matthew roaming in, but they got the vision. The double stun's coming out. The Spike Carapace delaying this a little bit, but the Mortimer's Kisses right on top. Matthew's dead. Dark Mago doing what he can. He's going to remnant away.
Yeah, man, it's crazy that works out so well. So naturally, like when Snapfire first came into the meta, when she was first released, Nyx was one of the natural counters because you could just Spike Carapace, disrupt the ultimate from afar. But you see what the issue is, like these Spike Carapaces are having to come out too soon. And once that happens, Maboka's free to let loose with the regurgitation of hot molten lava. Man, that honestly just, maggot.
Well, no, they were not on the same page. Ori had the kill, but he did not expect the familiar stun, so he just turned around and ran away. The familiar stuns came out, and suddenly he's like, wait a second, I can kill him. And it was just too late at that point. So, yeah, pretty unfortunate that they were on different pages there.
I'm still just thinking back to that solo attempt kill by Matthew. Like, oh man, you run it through in your head, right? Because I think there was a little bit of hesitation. If he'd gone straight away, the Ring of Health wouldn't have got Ursa high enough that he survives, as long as you connect to the mana burn. But you know, Monet, like, just to re-emphasize how close to death he was, if he Earth shocks in the wrong direction, Spike Carapace comes out and he dies. But let's talk about other things, like the fact that there is a brawl underway in the mid lane.
Yeah, but with the Heavenly Grace, that immediately is stopped, and you also now have the Guardian Angel threat from Omni Knight.
That added 1,100 health to him.
Oh, it's massive.
What a fun hero.
That's what I was saying. Like, this Heavenly Grace, I mean, again, it's been changed so much. Like, from the very original, what it used to be was just, like, literally a BKB straight up. Obviously, that was a long time ago, but...
Oh, yeah, Repel.
Yeah, the Repel, basically, yeah. But into what it is now, I mean, that's massive. And speaking of Omni Knight, though, that Guardian Angel could come into play unless they kill him quickly. The Guardian Silence is going to happen. The global silence, that is. Omni Knight is dead. And you do see the Primal Split as well off to the sides of Tundra Awaken. This is a good chance to get more. Lift up on Sapphire, Visage rooted in place. Do they have the burn damage enough? Darkmango has to be a little careful himself. The Impale connects though, and Matthew with the double kill, but now he's in trouble himself. Spike Carapace on cooldown for 10 seconds, but the lift once again for the Brewmaster. He comes back together, and now Bavoka, he's gonna end up dying. So great save, Matthew survives, and Tundra Awaken. Now this is more like it for them. They're starting to come online a bit.
Man, Matthew is feeling himself this game. The start of the first game looked shaky. I had my doubts. But then he impressed me later on, right? Didn't want to do my boy dirty. He came through. Brilliant stuns in the second half of the first game. And that confidence has carried through. Sometimes you get this kind of double-edged sword of that, right? When you play the same hero back-to-back, you either misfeel where you're at, or there's certain confidence level that carries across on these skill shot type heroes. And with Impale being the way it is, it does play a little bit like a skill shot. And so far, Matthew has been on point in his positioning through the first 50 minutes of this game.
It's opened up a lot of space for the Pudge as well. And the Aghanim Scepter, it's coming. He's going to take out a nice stack right here, so he'll be about 1,000 gold away or so from finishing that. And of course, that's a big item for him. Ember Spirit is going right into a BKB, so some decent timings now coming out for Tundra Awaken. On the other side, though, you cannot forget, you got Ursa with the Battle Fury, and so expect to see that farm even more accelerated as we move on. And by the way, his teammates also wrapping around bottom.
And Sacred doesn't have the split for 45, so should be an easy enough kill for them to find. I say as he forces out the kisses, and oh my, what, how, what, Stormtrooper aim alert! Stormtrooper aim alert! Okay, no. Oh god. I would not want to be provoked in that moment, like, guys, I don't think I've got this one, but luckily they're able to connect in the end. Just amazing how the Brew miraculously still somehow gets out of that, despite the fact he's half HP without the split. Oh god.
About a lot of time, I suppose. Meanwhile, that's a big snipe on the Courier. Coming out from Nyx Assassin. That's what he's going to be able to do more of as well. So the Ogre Axe destroyed, or at least for the time being. And Ursa will have to wait a bit longer. It's not like that would have completed his BKB by any means, but a little frustrating still, having to deal with that.
So let's talk about this upcoming Axe. It's about to be completed by Picard. He's actually TVing back for it now. It's pretty impactful up against the Omni Knight because of that regen factor. It's not just the extra strength he gives, it's also the regen. It's 20 regen you're going to be stripping down a low. Not to mention the fact that the Omni Knight isn't the only element, rather. This Ursa wants to eventually get lifesteal, and that's also going to be deprived away from him by the Axe effect.
So that, the BKB on Ember Spirit, and speaking of BKB on Ember Spirit, it's not there yet. He's in trouble, but is he in trouble or is Tiny in trouble? Bavoka trying to finish the job. Not going to happen, though. Pandamu doing a good job of, kind of just being there. The Arcane's Curse came out and made Aster realize that they weren't going to get that kill. But that, and then Brewmaster picking up the Wraith Pact, he actually just finishes it. This seems like the time now for Tundra Awaken to actually make some big plays here, right? Because they have spiked ahead of Aster in terms of their overall team fight potential, and look at what they're doing. They're going to smoke up, and they're hunting now.
Yeah, it's because of the greedy nature of a Visage in this situation. XSS stopped off for a Falcon Blade, so wasn't as fast to his Wraith Pact as he maybe could have been. That's why I don't want to fight now. XSS, of course, doesn't have Wraith Pact. Avalanche is going to come out from Ori. Very tanky boy wants the front line. Pakaz is going to be stunned up. Hook was used, so Thunder will have to reset.
Familiar is probably dead. He has resummoned. Dark Now, Dark doesn't have his BKB yet. Global Silence need to be used defensively. Side effects coming out, and the Poland as well on a Snapfire from Pakaz. Gets one kill. Finally, the Guardian Angel after the silence wears off, but Omni Knight, he's just going to get dismembered and killed off. Purge also happening from the Brewmaster, thanks to the split as we're talking about earlier. The big tiny stun, not going to be nearly enough though. He's just dead. Omni Knight buys back, but is it going to be enough? They're diving deep. Dark going all the way for the Visage. Not going to kill him, but showing that they're not afraid.
Well, a little bit of a misclick there from Pakaz. He didn't quite hit the hook correctly onto the tornado to Ursa. If he grabs that as well, that's the biggest kill. Monet, at this point, so close to the BKB, that would have crippled him. Forces the buyback of the Omni Knight. And one key detail is that is one of the most impactful Brewmaster splits I've seen pre-20 minutes. The tornado kept Ori out of the fight after he got Heavenly Grace. He could do nothing in this engagement. And then the fall from the Ursa makes sure there's no counterattack. Brilliant plays coming out from Sacred. Love to see him get an opportunity to pop off, considering last game, we couldn't help but just stare at Mago every second of it.
Yeah. And we talked about, again, it wasn't enough of intimidation as actually Ember Spirit. He is caught at half-life, but he's fine. Yeah, Spike Carapace also helping. He gets away, the pull-in. That's actually Tiny. Going to be locked down by the Dismember. The Heavenly Grace is not going to be enough. He's tanky, but not tanky enough.
Monet?
He's dead, so is Snapfire. Monet, yeah, he went deep.
Yeah, what are you doing here, buddy? You need to get out.
He doesn't have
Get
his
out
BKB.
fast. Hook's coming off cooldown. It's going to be tight. He's actually going to have to dodge it now. Kaz?
Nope.
No, okay. I wanted him to, though. It's the type of thing you might as well throw it out, but maybe they're a little bit paranoid because they don't know what's behind him there, even though they've killed two. So Thunder will just show a little bit of restraint. Not something I'm used to saying with these guys because usually they are incredibly relentless.
Yeah. Tiny dead, and he's still trying to work on that Echo Saber. But yeah, as I was saying, some key items. Prior to that fight, it was Ember Spirit not having the BKB, but he does have it now, and he actually gets another Arcane Rune, by the way. He had that in the previous fight, too, so that's a pretty viable rune for him to be using here. But the BKB on Ursa is very crucial, and I think he has it being delivered now. So that's definitely an opening for Aster to be a lot more confident, obviously, in fighting. And the Echo Saber, of course, and Ori will be big as well, but he still needs a couple more creeps.
Speaking of big creeps, they're trying to farm the birds, but XSS won't give over that easily. XSS is at least doing a good job of finding some presence in a game that should be incredibly dangerous for him. As you notice in details like this, just a hop straight on top of him. Looks like he wants to play with the chains, but XSS just gets out of range before they come off cooldown. Or not. The hook drag back is going to be there. XXS is going to be cookied out, but the double stun connects. Omni Knight cannot even react. Global Silence will prevent any sort of counterattack. Cyclone keeps the Tiny out of the equation, but Boca now reacting with the kisses coming through. Spike Carapace disruption is not going to be there. Ori stops him before he can intercept. After that, Thunder just have to walk away, limping away, in fact. Heavy casualties on their side. Ori going even deeper. Mago playing a dangerous game with fire here. Ori will look to throw the tree and toss a teammate in. They'll find the Ember as well. Good counterattack out of Aster.
It's understandable why you're feeling confident for your Thunder Awaken, but they were diving a tier 2 tower, and that certainly came into play as well for Aster's favor. Yes, they killed Omni Knight as well as they did. The Primal Split was great once again for the Brewmaster, but Ursa was able to go off, and it goes back to the BKB pickup. As we talked about, the biggest difference in this fight in comparison to the previous one, Visage able to live throughout as well. The Wraith Pact, I'm sure, being a big part of that. And they also kill Roshan now from here as well. So Aster, they take back that lead themselves. And they now are the ones that are feeling like they're in a bit more control. Again, the BKB on Monet, the absolute clutch there. Because the fact that Omni Knight was basically useless that fight, that should tell you something.
Yeah, I mean, he got double stunned up. That was a beautiful play by Matthew, by the way. He's been so on point in this game so far as this Nyx. He almost saves the day again. When Baboka tried to react with the kisses on the backside, there was a poor little Nyx slowly limping towards the initial kisses that would have allowed a Spike Carapace intercept. But credit where credit is due. Ori, after he came down from the mess, he was able to intercept that. It prevents Matthew from turning Fire Tool. And I love to see this impact now, Matthew. And what I'm going to love to see is the next item. BKB is what he's targeting. Why this is important is look at Sacred's build. He's going towards the Aghanims, a high impact item, and has been effective with the Cyclones earlier on. But now with the BKB on the Ursa and one to come on the Tiny, his options become limited.
I think sticking with the Brewmaster real quick, something else I did want to point out was that he did die during the Primal Split. I mean, that is ideally that's something that shouldn't happen, right? You know, you have the one that's pulled back for safety to then come back together. Eventually, he I don't know if he just lost track or what, but the Earth Brewling, the last one standing, it just was a little bit too far in front and got killed.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you just have to keep frontlining. If you look at the lineup, it's kind of weird. Like, Brewmaster goes in, and the idea is Pudge is meant to drag the enemy out. So Brew is always going to be the last one left to leave on the side of Thunder.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Aegis, though, up for Ursa. And obviously, he's got that Battle Fury, so a lot more farm. Tiny catches, or he tosses him back. Sacred has a split, but he's just going to get a 4-staff away. But Monet says, no, you aren't going anywhere. The bash right off the bat. He just got the basher. He did commit a BKB for that, but they make the kill happen on the Brewmaster.
Yeah, interesting little bit of paranoia there out of Monet, but a lot of respect being shown in that regards. Realizes there's an opportunity for turnaround if he doesn't have quick enough burst and doesn't want to actually play games with the side of Thunder. They came to do business, and with that tier 1 now gone, they start to take some serious map control. Feels like Thunder can't easily access their own jungle, especially with this deep ward that Aster got very early on. It even prevents the Ember from coming out too far because they can notice him rotating from the safety of the tier 2 early on and then get in position for a kill.
Taking over the bottom portion of the map is Aster for now. We have pretty much, yeah, everyone down here. Are they going to push the tier 2? It doesn't look like it. Want to open up the outpost just yet. They still have the Aegis for another 2 minutes, though.
Yeah, it's very restrained by Aster, but then we're used to seeing this, right? Like, they understand the timings, and they don't want to be pushed off them. So instead, they're just going to try to maintain a tempo here. The Thunder are going to try to break it.
They got vision, though, and as soon as those smokes break, they can be jumped. There's...
Lost the vision. Oh, hook back. Monet's in deep here. No BKB for 5 seconds, so Cyclone kind of helps him in a way. He's ready to go as soon as he comes down. Dark Mago not finding targets quick enough. Ori is going to stand his ground. XSS dodging out the death that Picard wants to give him. Guardian Angel on the side. Aegis already gone. Ursa still not involved, and XSS already taken out the equation. Monet now looking for vengeance. Kiss's follow-up is going to be there. Global Silence to intercept it, but they've already lost the Nyx, and Ursa wants more. He has got that BKB to play with. It's just ran out, but now he's going to look to rely upon his Omni Knight to allow him to go deeper. After all is said and done, it's a 2-for-1 exchange, but realistically a 2-for-2 considering you did lose the Aegis for it.
Yeah, they did, and the Visage kill is big for Thunder Awaken, but this Ursa is going to be an issue. Now, the reason why he wasn't able to be killed was you talked about the isolation, and it started with it getting thrown in there, you know, having some issues. But he was able to then do his work after the Aegis brought him back up, and of course the rest of the team there to support, even despite that Visage being killed. So this Ursa will still prove to be an issue. I will say, Ember Spirit, I was almost a little bit worried for Dark Mago there. He held on to his BKB for a while as he jumped in initially. It was about half life before he finally popped it. Fairly risky play in itself, but he did survive in the long run, as we saw. But yeah, this Ursa is going to continue to be an issue. The Heavenly Grace on him, yeah, he had something like 3,400 life as well. So.
Yeah, it's like that's the type of situation. BKB's gone, you're like, well, you should be dead. But it's almost like his second BKB. It won't protect you from magical damage or stuns, but it gives you that confidence to never die. And you know that's with I'd say a subpar Guardian Angel. Siamese C wasn't in a good position to save many heroes. He just tried to use it for XSS on his own. And although it buys a few seconds, it's not the fundamental detail that maybe evens up the fight. It's just the fact that once you get that Heavenly Grace out, Monet is going to be unstoppable, as is Ori in this type of game. So definitely something that Thunder needs to still address.
The silencer, speaking of that too, the global silence was actually pretty late in that fight, but I think a lot of that came down to he wanted to use it after the Aegis resurrection of Ursa. So when an Aegis isn't in play, then you could expect perhaps the global silence to come out a bit earlier from him, that being Panda move, of course. But yeah, when the Aegis was in play, a different story. You want to use it after the fact.
And something to speak about these silencers is very interesting and quite reinvigorating to see the way that the South American region utilizes silencer compared to other regions. This is another game where the silencer is given a little bit more farm priority than the alternative. Makes sense to a certain extent, as Nyx is a hunter-killer type support, but we saw the impact this had in the last series, right? It allows you to get to these key items that give impact to an otherwise irrelevant hero. Sure, you're always this global silence as the game goes on, but you know, it's similar to the logic of AA and how that hero evolved. If all you are is an ultimate, you know, are you fully maximizing the hero? And the answer is often no.
Ember Spirit has Akaya. Gonna get smoked up with his teammates as they're heading top currently. Brewmaster leading the charge. The scan comes out. They find Visage off the bat. Do they have to blow up? The global science is used very early as expected. Pakaz in as well, and he's gonna dismember right on top. So the global science secures the easy kill to lift. They get the lift onto the Ursa. He's gonna be KB, and here we go in the back lines. Yes, I see. He's trying to get a position for his ultimate, if anything. Puts the Heavenly Grace up, and Monet running after Pakaz, but Pakaz kiting well. Oh, the hook, it actually misses because he got lifted up right there. A little bit awkward as far as, but look at the backlines. Dark Mago. The Guardian Angel comes out, though, so he's going to have trouble getting through that. Omni Knight may be dead soon, but he's kind of already done his job, I suppose. Monet is lower, but the beatdown on the Ember Spirit not going to be enough, though, with the lockdown, and Ursa will fall. They also kill Snapfire, and now Aster, it's their turn to retreat. You can tell Omni Knight doing everything he can to stay alive and put the Heavenly Graces, especially the Purification, up, but it doesn't matter.
They're slipping. They're slipping fast as well. I know it seems exaggerative because you see it and you say, oh, there's less than a 1K net worth lead for Aster. But that fight right there sets a kind of pace for this game now. The way that Thunder are fighting, they're very good at disengaging. They bought so much time. The issue I see in this game is one that you often see in Ursa drafts. He's getting kited. He has no way of clearly engaging and no way of clearly just cleaning up a kill straight away. And part of that is due to how tanky the frontliners of the Pudge and the Brewmaster is, but also it comes down to the Brewmaster's utility in the Nyx as well. This CC, the stuns, the Cyclones, they're removing him from the equation for long enough that even a hero like Ember that can sometimes be reluctant to go in is able to snipe at the back line and almost find multiple kills on his own. Aster need a solution, and they need it fast to this problem.
Yeah, it really is the case of similar to last game with Sacred, you know, playing the Darks here that time around, and this one beyond the Brewmaster. He is the one that's creating the room, creating the space, and allowing the team to be so successful in these fights, going back to the lift-ups specifically with that Storm Brewling. And also continue to look at the progress of the Ags, speaking of that, and he is very close now. Yeah, 600 more gold needed, and he will have the Ags. So he's going to have that permanent Brewling with him, which is even that much bigger. So
is that a DD? Should we fight over this?
Yes, it is.
Already gets it. Yeah. And Roche is up. Aster, they can do this fast. Thunder haven't got all their heroes here. Pakaz is slowly walking across. Pudge not exactly the quickest hero to move. This is going to be tight, actually, on the timing. Nyx might be able to scout it out, though. The sentry is down, so they'll know when Matthew comes nearby. Hook drags out the Ursa, though. And he will be forced to use the BKB. Dismember, the patience from Pakaz, and the global science follow-up. Ursa just needs to leave. Ember is gone, though. Matthew in deep. Spike Carapace is going to be used, but they force out the Enrage, and Monet now just needs to lead as quickly as possible. However, the Cyclone will prevent him from getting out fast.
That was so well played by Tiny specifically. Speaking of that, he's going to be able to toss back in Sacred, and now Sacred's likely dead as well. Yeah, he's just dead, and they're going to go back into the Roshan pit and finish the job. But what I was going to say, Ursa got hooked in, but, I mean, he was fine. He's not going to die. He got the BKB off. Instead, he focused his attention on blowing up the Ember Spirit and not necessarily responding to the Ursa that was in quote-unquote trouble. So fantastic decision-making on his part. The Ember Spirit with no buyback, as we saw immediately as he died there. Man, that fight was not going to go the way of Tundra Awaken, and it absolutely goes the way of Aster. And they now get the Aegis again, and it would go back to what we were discussing earlier. With the Aegis in play, it really changes how these fights are to work for Tundra Awaken going up against it, and it's an issue. So they're once again in the back foot, but this game just continues to be a pendulum swing.
Yeah, I like Thunder was very focused on that Ursa. I mean, they even delayed the Dismember until he BKB to try and get the most value, but now Ursa's going to be forced to fight. Nyx in a bit too deep. Dismember's going to be there, but nice clutch save coming out from the Ursa. Will have to turn around. Ghost Scepter forced out of the cars. Guardian Angel will be committed by Aster, but Nyx down first. Mago in with the BKB. He gets it off this time, but he doesn't do anything with it. Thunder need to leave fast.
Yeah, no primal split means your success chance in this fight is not nearly as high for Tundra Awaken. You just have to accept the fact that that tower is dead and retreat as they do. But yeah, Matthew dead for 50 seconds on the Nyx Assassin. And Aster, I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily going to stop. They still got a BKB in hands of Ursa. He's actually very close to a Satanic. He just needs about 400 more gold or so. And he'll have that to pick up as well as they continue to push here. Ooh, interesting pickup there, by the way. Ethereal Blade on Pudge. So kind of that mixed up offense and defense across.
Yeah, exactly. It allows him to get away from the Ursa. They don't have a nullifier. They don't have an answer to it right now. And unlikely they get one too soon here. But, man, all I can do is think back to that Roche and how Dark Maga, if he had that BKB, how different that fight would look and how different this game would look right now. I mean, we could be talking about Thunder taking control of the map, taking 2 tier 2s at least. But Aster, such a brilliant way to recover what should have been a dicey fight. And now, in a very dominant position, Thunder only have 1 remaining outer tower. And if you think about Aster and how quickly they can clean up these fights, and with the heroes they've got, it's not just the fights they can clean up quickly, it's also the buildings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They can definitely shred those. Led by Tiny, of course, and Visage certainly great for that as well. Do they have like an Assault Curios or anything? Visage? No, he's not even going that, but still, even without that, there's still plenty. Yeah, he's got the hand disc, so yeah, exactly. The jumps on him aren't going to be nearly as effective now. Instead, it's going to be some outpost control at the bottom side of the map. Thunder Awaken, they have everything ready though. The big one being the Primal Split, and of course the Global Silence. They're looking for an engagement. Omni-Knight, that'd be a big pick. They're going to get it off the bat, but a Tiny in the back. That's Global Silence goes off. Trying to save his teammate. Brewmaster able to get the split off because of it. BKB from Dark Mago going up Visage, but we talked about the Aeon Disc. That proc could be coming out soon. Tiny, he is still standing strong though, but look at Ursa. He's in the air doing nothing for the time being. BKB on Pakaz is going to be wearing off soon, however, and Pudge is just dead. The Kisses are chasing, and Aster, even losing Omni-Knight right off the bat, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, they take a good fight there, and it looked good at the start. Thunder, they find the prime target. The global looks like it's going to be a good follow-up, but they can't get a good timing. Ursa, he waits for the patience of the BKB, uses it afterwards, instantly is involved in the fight again, and even though you've got the Storm Panda to throw him up in the air afterwards, these fights are just lasting too long. What you're seeing is a lack of burst on Thunder. They've really reached their peak. They don't kill these cores fast enough, and that's just been inflated by the fact that XSS is going towards this Aeon Disc. Once he's at that territory, none of these cores die in time. At which stage, Thunder Predator, they aren't designed to take long engagements. You can think about it, rather see it rather just by looking at their heroes. Pudge, Nyx, Ember. You know, Ember can at least poke, but overall what you're looking for is 5 seconds in, someone on Aster needs to be dead.
Well, speaking of being dead, Matthew will be dead, as there's the get over there from Tiny. Smashes his face into the ground, so he's out for 40 more seconds. Pudge is still dead for 20. I mean, this is potentially another set of frags. It likely is. The lift on Ursa will delay it slightly as Ori. Oh, he almost caught the Ember Spirit. Very close right there. Hiding just at the right angle, though. That Aegis still has 55 seconds. Ranged racks will be alive, but, I mean, Aster definitely got what they came for with the melee.
Yeah, they got
resetting
melees, so they're pretty happy. And they're going to go back in. Mago, what? It's off cooldown again. That's the second time he's got caught by the Tiny like that. Ursa's going to be dragged in. He's still got the Aegis, though. This is the wrong time to do this. Buyback forced out from Mago. He's once again in on the backside. Global Silence used, but Mago can't stand his ground. Guardian Angel will protect Aster, and Thunder are quickly falling apart.
I'm pretty sure Monet took that hook on purpose. Like, he didn't even attempt to dodge. He's like, all right, yes, please, hook me in. I want to fight. And yeah, that did not seem like that was going to go the way of Thunder Awaken. The good news for them is they are able to kind of reset. Dark Mago was in trouble there initially, but no, he gets out, and yeah, the dieback would pretty much end this game at this point. So staying alive after that buyback, but the Aegis has now been reclaimed. And Ursa going back to farming. It looks like, yeah, he's going to go with the Swift Blink next as well. Another massive item for him to have. But we really can't overlook this Tiny. By the way, he has a double damage room bottled up. But the Daedalus is also coming for him. And he's doing so much damage in these fights as well, especially the upfront burst.
Yeah, this is a big Monkus moment. I mean, DT, he already does close to 600 damage, and he's going to try to party with it now. Stun comes out in the Pudge. He's already used the E-Blade, has got the BKB, might have to use it. Tiny being brought low, BKB activated. Oh my god! Where did the Pudge go?
Into the grave. Yeah, he's dead. And Dark Mago! Oh, he gets out. Kisses?
Kisses 100. No, they're just off the mark. If he went left side, he actually would have found him, but good god. That Pudge, he's not squishy, Breaky. That's 3.1k HP, but 9 armor is something that Tiny will shrug at. He disappeared.
I mean, yeah, he wasn't able to use either the BKB or the Ghost Scepter either, so certainly not helping his cause, but it's just too much firepower from Aster now. The lead is just insurmountable, and it's looking like this is going to be a split series at this point. The Mega Creeps are coming, as Aster will finish off the last set of racks there. And now they're just going to fall back and kind of let the Creeps do their job for the time being, while they clean up a bit. I mean, tier 4 items are available if they want to farm those. Not that I'm saying
No,
that
they
they
want
need
to farm
to, but no,
heroes.
they want to farm
my-
heroes.
Well, we'll use. They have to get a kill out of this. They can't let them leave for free, but Monet's in. The bash is going to come out. Mago able to back away. Enemy might not be so lucky, though. Monet will show some restraint. Needs to get out of his team. They are overextending.
That Brew lifting up again, but it doesn't matter. Nyx Assassin once again falls. I mean, we see this before, though, where they kind of quote-unquote fall back, and then they just kind of reset, and now they're looking to go back in. Yeah, it's exactly what Aster is going to do again. The cookie, it hits the Storm Brewling at least. Going for another lift up on the Ursa. The hook, it's going to miss, though.
And this Omni Knight has been such an amazing pick for them. Every time they think they're set up, like there's meant to be a natural little synergy there, right? You sear and chains, you hook them. Doesn't work. Omni Knight's just always there to save, so they haven't even had that element going from a very early point in the game. Aster refused to leave. Instead, they go in and they will find the Panda, dead for 50, a buyback out of Nyx, and a buyback that will do nothing.
Yeah, they're just playing with their food right now. Thunder Awaken, of course, doing what they can to hold on to this one, but Aster, you see even Ori, he's just dancing, spinning in circles, knowing that this one is all but over. And yeah, Omni Knight with the Lotus Orb to go with all that utility he's already bringing to the table. He is a savior. Indeed, punch. That's a swing and a miss. Puts himself in an exposed spot. The Ghost Scepter goes off to dismember, but as soon as that wears off, he's likely dead himself. And there we go. The big red numbers coming out from Ori. Thanks to that Daedalus. Sleight of Fist. Get away for Ember Spirit. But now the tier 4s are focused. There's the GG. It is over.
Yeah, Monet's like, do we need to pie in the fountain? Okay, you guys have caught it. Good job, good game. You took game 1, but Aster are not going to make it simple. They draw it out in the end. 1-1 apiece in this SA Chinese showdown.
I mean, that was Aster. It starts with the idea that they if they didn't really understand it going into the series, which is understandable, you know, China versus South America, it's not a lot of times these teams going to play against each other. That Thunder Awaken is a very aggressive team. In game 1, they certainly realized that if they didn't already. Game 2, I do think they adjusted very appropriately, right? We talked about it. Just the tankiness overall with their whole lineup.